Hello, 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 hello. Welcome everybody to Fantasy Football Sevens. I'm your host, IDP Iggy. I am your commissioner if you're in the league, IDP Iggy. I'm so thankful for everybody that's about to start tuning in. I love the show. I love telling people about this league. I love having people on the show. Real quick before we get started, I got my little Humpty Dumpty, man. Kawasaki's disease. Know the symptoms. Swollen lips, hands peeling, legs peeling, like toes peeling, uncomfort, unable to sleep, all those things, man. If you notice those signs, especially if you have a young child, make sure you talk to your doctor about it. Probably nothing. Could be something, though. And if it is, you got to address it soon. That's why we started this league for Kawasaki's disease. Joining me this week, I'm so pumped to have representing not just a country, not just an island, not just a continent, but a whole quadrant of a hemisphere. So happy to have Outlawed Commissioner joining us from the land down under. How are you doing today, sir?
Yeah, g'day guys. Yeah, feeling really good, doing really well. It's fantastic to do this pod with you, Iggy. There's so much banter going on in that league, and seeing Mace do it last week, I just had to jump on. I couldn't resist it anymore.
Man, I'm so pumped for you to be here. Thanks for making it happen. I know you're busy. I know you got your family, you got doing all stuff. So I want to say from me to you, I really appreciate it. Real quick before I get going though, I got a couple good friends in Hawaii. One guy that has beat me in a championship. He gave me this shirt, and I want to give him a shout out, man. And it just says, husband, dad, fantasy football legend. Yeah. I think that pretty much sums up you and I both. So I thought it was a very
appropriate. That's what it's about. That's what it's about.
It is absolutely what it's about. Wearing your TJ Watt shirt, man. I gave you the order, but yeah, first off, why don't you tell everybody where to find you, man? We need to get you to 1K subscribers. This guy's active. This guy's positive. This guy knows his stuff, man. Not just defensive stuff. He knows his offensive stuff, too. Also, how to be a great commissioner. How do the people find you, my man?
You can find me at Outlawed Commissioner. That's pretty much my only Twitter or social media thing I'm doing at the moment. I took a bit of time off to deal with family matters. So last year I wasn't even present in the social media form, but now things are back on track with family life. I'm starting to emerge once again. I still kept in contact with the NFL, with the news and the reading and everything like that. You can find me at Outlawed Commish. I'm happy for you to follow me. I usually follow back. If I don't, you'll usually see a big rush of follows down the track one day or another. So, yeah.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm following way more people than I have followers. I'm probably going to always try to keep it that way because that's what it's about. It's about the community. It's about having fun, man. When we get going, man, how did you become a football fan? I want to know how and why you are a football fan, sir. If you don't mind answering that question from somebody has a very curious nature about life.
Look, the honest answer is I wasn't an NFL fan whatsoever about 10 years ago, but I had a mate who invited me to his home league because I used to love getting into fantasy sports, like on the Australian side of sports. So he invited me, gave it a go. And that was the end of me because I pretty much delved into it 100% of my time. That was it. He invited me to it, and I just said, "How good is this?" And it was only offense at the time. I'm still in that home league. It's been probably 10 years running now, and I've won it once, thankfully. But yeah, look, that was my answer, which is how I got into it.
Nice, man. Yeah, it's weird. I've met so many people, man, that didn't care anything about the NFL, played a little bit of fantasy football, get into the NFL, man. I think it's a great love. I'm somebody that preaches no sport is bad. I don't really care if it is, if you're over there curling, and you're just on the ice predominantly getting drunk, but you're still trying to have a little competition, you're still socializing. I mean, that's good for me. Football, people try to say a lot of negative things about rugby, football. I didn't tell you this before the show. Where I went to college, my friends started a fantasy football or a rugby sevens. They end up winning the whole league. We're the most affordable college west of the Mississippi, about half the country. We went on and took on the Ivy League schools, the big schools, and my boys won. So that's what made me a huge rugby fan. So that's a heck of a sport. For anybody watching that hasn't ever watched rugby, please go watch it. It's a fantastic sport, man.
Tough as nails.
Tough as nails, and you guys are the king of it. That Kiwi, the Fijian, like that whole little corridor right there is great rugby play, man. That's what we had a lot of Islanders on our team. My friend Jeremy, he's still playing professionally. Kayvon, he represents the USA in the Olympics this year in the first ever rugby. So I'm so happy for those guys, man. You know, it's like weird. I was just there working out, and they were doing their thing. I should have joined in hindsight, you know, but I was just happy to be in shape. I didn't feel like getting my nose broke. But man, let's talk about your team, man. I love your team name, Sac City Outlaws. You're in the Machete division of the Danny Trejo League, man, with me, with Mason. Shout out, Mason, putting your post on there. Thanks for checking it out, man. Thanks for the comments. Hey, guys, put the comments on there. We'll post. This is an open open communication forum for everybody involved. I'm going to pull up your team a little bit, man. Let's go ahead and check it out. What do you remember from the draft, man? The draft was a little over a month ago now, and I'm trying to let's see what happened there.
I remember all of it. I've got one of those memories that just persist, which is really good. Look, I did so many mock drafts prior to this. I really wanted to make an impact, I guess. So I think I managed to do it. But I did so many variations of the mock based on the point scoring, the stats and key figures and things like that. By the time I got to my final mock, I was like, no, this is the way I'm going to go about it. And I think I want to try to shake it up, or in a sense manipulate the draft, where I would be left with some running backs or some wide receivers around the 6th round that were actually relevant. Because every time I did the mock and I took the IDP early, I didn't end up with the running backs that I had or the wide receivers that I had. So it still took a lot of kahunas, if I can say that, to pull that off. But yeah, look, it was one of those drafts where I think when it started and it was my turn, I'm like, am I going to go through with this? And I said yes. And I clicked on Micah Parsons, and then I was committed that entire time. So
no, man, that was an amazing moment. I because this was my draft, and I'm used to being the first guy to kind of set that in motion. And as somebody that watched the other 5 leagues draft, there was a couple wild hairs. Somebody took one in the second, I believe, same TJ Watt, Michael Parsons, and others kind of creeped into the 3rd as IDP becomes more popular. But for 12 years playing in my home league, 10 years of that with my home league, it's like, I'm always the first guy. I'm taking the best guy available in the 4th round. And you came out and you did that, and that started such a domino reaction to every other IDP, and it does have such great relevance. I'm going to go back and repost it. TJ Watt got just as much as RB 1, 2, 3s. Michael Parsons had just as much as RBs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s. It all translates into points, man. And I got your team pulled up right here. Let's take a look at that. You did take excuse me. I want to break down your roster, but I'm going to break down with the IDPs first. It's kind of weird how Sleeper does it. I don't know why they don't put up the IDP flexes with the ranks. But you got Nick Bosa, who you're calling Mace's boyfriend. We got Xavier Collins, the Hurricane Xavier. Man, I love that you nicknamed all your players. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You got Kyle Duggernaut, man, running down your DB. Then Michael Parsons, the sexual. TJ Watt, destroyer of worlds. I love that so much, dude. And then Devin White, Pirates Life. And then the emoji's not popping up on my computer. But yeah, dude, Devin White, he carried people to championships. TJ Watt's been carrying people to championships the past 2 years. If somebody like you that's in a big dynasty league, I don't know if it's an IDP dynasty league, but if somebody got Micah Parsons just very cheaply, their championship odds have gone up tremendously for the entire length of his career, man. And not to be outdone, you did a double down with the Steelers defense, who I think is going to be great. You got Highsmith, you got Cameron Hayward, you got why am I blanking out on the Jaguars linebacker that just came over?
Patrick, you got plenty there, mate.
Yeah,
I'm just hoping that they do trade for another linebacker at some stage throughout the course of the year. That's all.
Dude, Miles Jack, man. Yeah, talk about that lineup. Talk about that devastating. You're like the head coach, the fantasy general manager that went, look, we're building a championship via the defense. Why don't you break down that a little bit for everybody?
Yeah, the strategy was there are so many offensive players you can pick from, especially in a 16 size team league. So I just really wanted to stranglehold on the absolute best players I could in IDP because there aren't that many. So when the roster sizes are the way they are, I needed to monopolize that, and I needed to be strategic about what part of my roster do I want my points generated from, and it was the IDP, and hence the mock drafts over and over again. How do I generate the points? And this was it. You'll get to the offense side, you'll probably laugh at the quarterbacks, but this was a strategy through and through. And to be honest, when it got to the fourth round, I was like, I'm going to go all in because I'm committed, and I took Nick Bosa because I knew that the season he's probably going to have is right up there with, well, it could be career defining. So, and I love the Zaven Collins one because I know so many IDP knowledge guys out there were like, oh, he's going to be the steal down in the draft. And I sniped him so early from a lot of people. I'm like, there's no way he's getting to any of you. He's coming to me.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. I think you've got an amazing thing. I mean, where's the weak spot? I mean, there's not a weak spot. So it's going to be difficult. Your defensive side of the ball, we're going to talk very easily over 100 points on average a week, not including your defense, but you can get so many points. Yeah, as we scroll up, man, I don't think it's so funny. You were able to go get Geno Smith after the draft, correct? Is that correct?
No, I think I picked him up with my last few picks, or maybe I did pick him up off the waivers. That one I can't actually remember. Maybe I did draft him, like maybe in the last round.
I think actually you did on the very end.
Yeah.
Like one of your last two picks. But rounding it out, Daniel Jones, we got the staggered league. Travis Etienne, AJ Dillon. That was your first. Who did you draft first out of those two?
I got Etienne in the 5th round, which I thought was just at the time probably a bargain the way it was going. So.
No, yeah, that's the advantage of us drafting this early. You know, there was people complaining a little bit about the slow draft, but you know, as somebody that's best balled from early June all the way until the season kicks off, you know, I have seen the ADP fluctuate so much between certain players. Two great running backs, can't argue with that. This is only a half-point PPR. I'm not the biggest PPR fan, but I did settle for a half point. So the running backs have that much more value, in my opinion, in this format. And then you got DJ Moore, could be wide receiver 1. Amon St. Brown, who I had last year, who I paid for high in my dynasty league, my first year dynasty league. So I'm right there with you. And then you got Bateman, who could have, you know, we're talking wide receiver 1. Wide receiver 1 on anybody's team is worth rostering. But I think Bateman's good because he's got an MVP throwing him the ball. They're going to have to pass a lot because the running backs, you know, they're going to get a couple yards. That's going to be their job. You know, a couple big plays here and there. The ball is going to have to move on that team via the pass. That's my personal belief. And then you got Geno Smith, which, you know, in the flex, I love it. You know, I mean, you got the super flex, you got 2 QBs. I think that's a ticket. Like you said, you mock draft so many times. And then go look at this stacked IR. You got Jones on the bench. You got Williams, who you called it earlier. You had the receipts for this back in June, Outlaw. I want you to highlight that as well. You're able to put Brian Robinson, lo and behold, on there. And then we have Pickett, Hines, White for Tampa Bay back up. And then you got Pickens. So you got the Pickett to Pickens on the bench. Pickens could come in and become relevant, but you got such great wide receivers. You got trade bait. And guess what? You have arguably the best safety on your bench as well. With Cameron Curl, he could end up this year with 130 tackles, you know, tackles assisted and solo, man. Not to dominate the mic, man, but if you can remember that, let's bring that back to your offense. I'll bring it back here for a reference. See that. Go ahead and talk about it, man. I think it's hard to find a kink in this armor, in my opinion.
Well, that was the idea of challenging the rest of the draft with pushing the IDP for 4 straight rounds because eventually – a lot of the good IDP players were going. So I believe I forced a lot of hands where these players were actually left for me when others started to say, I better start actually looking at my IDP roster. When I did those mocks, I never ended up with these players. I think I was drafted at the end, like Chase Edmonds, which now is relevant. But, you know, Sony Michel, these types of players were my running backs, and then my wide receiver core were pathetic. So to come away with DJ Moore, Amon St. Brown, Rashad Bateman, AJ Dillon, Travis Etienne on the back of my IDP, I was just thrilled. The only positions I probably am disappointed in, Daniel Jones and Geno Smith. Not too pleased about that. But hey, you can't have a super lineup in a 16-team league.
Well, off the top of my head, who do you consider the best cornerback in the NFC East, if you had to think of one?
Don't put me on the spot, man. Don't put me on the spot.
Well, I'm just telling you, there's not one. That's why. Ramsey doesn't come to your mind. Jair Alexander doesn't come to your mind. Okay, there's two great guys in the NFC, but they're not in the NFC East. That was my point. Trevon Diggs gets burned time again. I think what I'm doing here is I'm setting up my Carson Wentz on the bench to trade to you, my man, in case you get down. And I'm not too worried about it. You got two starting in the NFL, my friend. There's nothing not to like about this, my guy. I love it. You got a stacked. Hey, guys, pay attention. I did it, but let me just go ahead and spell it out for you. Look at his roster one more time. Like he said, he forced the hand because by the time the 6th round had completed, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm going to say there was about 16 IDPs already off the board, which means all the IDP ones in theory are off the board. But go back and look at this. Utilize your IR spot over here in the fantasy football sevens. All right, you get to put out guys. You get to put suspended guys. You get to put the PUP guys. If you're not putting these people in your roster, you only get a 5 bench, 16 teams. You got 15 starters. Utilize that bench. Utilize that IR. Okay, that's going to be a massive the people that do that are going to be getting ahead, and the people that aren't are going to notice it. Okay, you're going to start seeing the big difference in that in about 4 or 5 weeks. Go ahead and talk about Williams real quick, man. You called that. You said you had the receipt on him. What thought you to do that? Because I was kind of nervous. I really was. I don't have too many shares of him. I didn't get him in best ball because I thought maybe he won't come back till later. But what made you realize that, man? Please talk about that.
Just love the talent coming out of his college, mate. He was just exceptional. Unfortunate injury, but any injury like that, 10 years ago would have been almost career ending, but now it's just walk in the park surgery. So he's going to come back. I don't think he's going to hit early in the season, but geez, he could really be a league winner with Goff there at full our quarterback, and DJ Chark and Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams in that offense. If he gets open, it's see you later.
Yeah, in 2018, Jared Goff carried people to championships. It won my league of record. The guy that had Jared Goff, he had other gaps. It's the same format that you're in right now. And Jared Goff carried him to the championship. I believe in him, man. The hard knocks, maybe it's a little bit too much of that, but people forget he's a top 2 overall pick. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's won a conference. Not too many people have done that. So if he gets that 3rd or 4th or 5th, however you want to classify a weapon, that is amazing, man. I think it's going to be amazing to look. Let's get to it, man. I want to be proud that you're the game of the week. It's an international affair, man. Intercontinental. I'm such an old school wrestling guy. Like I said, I got Brett up here in a couple of spots, man. Shout out to my guy Tybo. He gave me all that stuff, and yeah, dude, it's an intercontinental affair. It's kind of a big thing. Phil made it to the championship last year. I've been competing with Phil full 2 years now, actually a little longer than that, almost 3. And he's good, man. He knows the stuff. He understands the system. But it's going to be interesting style. And you're in the first game of the week, man, as a rookie. How are you feeling? What have you noticed? How are you feeling about going into this first week?
Yeah, look, I think with any first week of the season for fantasy football, it's just observe. I'm not too worried if I win or lose. It's observe, see what's happening, see the dynamics of what could be, and pivot. It's a learning round for me, and the outcome's kind of irrelevant. Sorry to put a downer on your game of the week, but that's just the way I view it. I really don't hope for a win. I view what can I learn from this round.
No, man, absolutely. And the cool thing, like I said, the beauty of me is I customize your schedule. If you guys don't know yet, paying attention, 1, 2, 3 is division, and then 12, 13, 14 is division. And the team you play in week 1, you play again in week 14. And I think that's a cool thing. And the rosters will be so different, like you said, and it'll be mattering then. So for whatever it's worth, I kind of think that's a real Kind of like the beauty of it, the reflection of it. Like I said, I compared it to a beautiful sandwich. So yeah, you're right. You're going to get to play this person again. It's just like a division game in the NFL, and I really think it's awesome about that.
Yeah.
You know.
Look, he's got a good roster. I'll give him that. He's got Josh Allen. It's a very strong roster. I just hope my IDPs come through.
I'll pull it up real quick. I should have done that. Here we go. Here's y'all's matchup right here. Yeah, Josh Allen, Nick, Cortland Sutton, Carr. He's got Simmons, who I believe in. He's got Chargers defense. And then he's a big Eagles fan. So he's got Reddick, who I was like, man, I've been on Reddick all year. And then Kaiser White, who I think is very underrated. So, yeah, it's going to be a battle. Like I said, you guys have I put it in the Game of the Week story, which if you haven't read the stories for your league, go check that out. You know, I put a lot of effort into that too. And you guys are playing somebody has a matchup from Thursday to Monday. So it's going to be, it's from beginning to end. How much more, that's part of the reason I chose it for the Game of the Week. I was like, man, that's great. We get to watch scores and points from the very first night to the very last night. And I just love it, man. As somebody that enjoys fantasy and football, I was like, what can you ask for? Because I'm somebody that's lost to a kicker kicking a last-second field goal on Monday Night Football. And that's like one of the most sickening, frustrating, ready to go. I'm just like sad and sick at the same time, man. I hate it. But, that's the beauty of this matchup. It could come down to something as simple as a catch or a 3-yard run or something like that, which that's the beauty of it, man.
TJ Watt's back.
Man, I love the TJ Watt jersey. You just got that, right? That's this year. That's a recent jersey, right?
Yeah, so this is came in the mail for me about a month ago. I'm slowly building my jersey collection, which is good. And yeah, hopefully I've got about 5 more on the way now because I found an awesome website, which is more cost effective for us in Australia to buy jerseys. It's very expensive to buy jerseys here. I'm not too sure why that is, but yeah.
No, imagine shipping, and I don't know why else, but just to get there if it's not manufactured there, which I'm sure not too many NFL stuff is manufactured there, man. But hey, if you win, I don't care the cost. I'm going to send you an IDP jersey of your choice. Old school one, Charles Woodson. You can go with the retired Hall of Famer. You can go with somebody like TJ Watt. You'll also get, the custom, like I said, may change the logo. This is mine from the first year. My wife and I make these of your favorite team if you have one. We try to choose the colors for it. And, man, all kinds of other good stuff. So make sure you're competing. Make sure you're setting your rosters. Make sure you're checking your lineups. Make sure you're using that IR spot. Let's talk about your Super Bowl prediction before I let you get out of here, man. You had a Bengals beating the Packers, which I really enjoy. Not enjoy, but I enjoy that you have Green Bay going to the Super Bowl. If they just make it to the Super Bowl, I'm going to be stoked as a kid once again, But, you said you just kind of wrote that down. We talked about this in the production meeting. But do you have any conviction on that, or would you like to change that? Or what is your stance on that Bengals?
Yeah, I don't know. Look, I think they knew what they had to do at the end of last year, which is fix that offensive line. And I think they've done that. It was only one play that got them the loss in that Super Bowl, wasn't it? That Aaron Donald sack. Had Burrow got it to Chase, it would have gone the other way. So I don't know, man. And yeah, I'm a softie for Packers. I love Rodgers, but geez, the dynamics of that team are they going to be more defensive structured this year? Yeah, I don't know. Look, it's something that I just wrote down. I'm not going to change it. I'll stick to it because, like anything in life, things happen for a reason. If it comes through, then I'll be like, yeah, I'm the smartest man in the world. But
well, it's also just about being a person of conviction, right? I like that. If I'll tell you it's going to rain, you better go grab an umbrella. You know what I'm saying? That's how I like to be about myself, especially in the fantasy football Twitter world, man. I just want to say, if you don't believe in and you do, you have a conviction, you believe in it, you state it, and I'm right there with you on most of your beliefs. But a lot of people, you can't be fair weather, man. If you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything because it's all out there on Twitter. So just have conviction in yourself. Do a little bit of research. You heard Outlaw say he did a lot of mocks specifically for this draft. I pay another site. I pay Fantasy Pros to specifically load the point system. You can load it, you can plug it, and then you can save it. And so you can do, man, I can do 6-7 mocks in an hour and figure out where I'm going to be in each stance, So just make sure you're put in the effort, man. If you're going to pay in something, if you want to compete, if you want to be good, necessarily some people just kind of donate. I got people that have been in here now 3 years, just kind of just automatic. Here you go, man. I'll be in it. It's fun, yada yada. But if you want to win, you got to put in the effort. That's what it takes in anything in life, and that's just the cold hard facts. Outlawed Commissioner.
Yeah, practice makes perfect, man.
Oh yeah, dude. That's the absolute truth, man. I've been drafting so much and mock drafting so much this year. You can just give me a player, I can kind of tell you where they're going, where I take them. I've watched people go. DJ Shark, I've watched gone up over 100 picks. He was like my second to third last pick. Now you can't do that. He's got to be around 12. He's got to be around 11, 12, 13, 14 for you to get him, which is pretty crazy because I was getting him at 20. So that it's good to do. Practice makes perfect. That doesn't make perfect. Practice makes it where you have the opportunity to perfect what you're trying to do. Okay, as nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to be perfect, man. I've really, really, really enjoyed having you on the show, man. Is there anything else you would like to share, like to say?
Look, yeah, get to my Twitter feed. I do have some outlandish takes, so I like to have a bit of fun. I've really held back my Aussie accent here. I might depart with a bit of slang, which is thanks for listening, hooroo, take it easy, and we will see you on the flip side, yeah?
Absolutely, man. I always catch you on the flip side. Please come back on. Outlaw Commish, Game of the Week 1, baby, in the Danny Trejo League, coming at you. Hey, man, I'm going to plug all you guys right before we get going. Probably Sundays. I'm going to make sure everybody's on the Game of the Week. I'll highlight you guys on Twitter, and then there's always one game of the tournament this week. That happens to be my man Tyler, who won it all last year. You win it all, you get the first game of the week, just like the Rams, Bills. Oh, yeah, real quick. What do you think about that game before I let you go? Any things about it?
I know I'll be sitting at a pub having a beer watching it, mate. That's about it. Let's go to Bills.
Yeah, man. There we go. I'm with the Bills, too. I took them on the money line. Hey, man, like I said, I really appreciate it. Go follow this guy. Let's get him to 1K. I'm not the most popular person on Twitter, but go follow my man. Go tell everybody we need to start a train just for my guy, dude. Representing a whole continent, a whole hemisphere, a whole quadrant, I should say, of the planet, man. Thank you for joining. I really do appreciate you. Keep it fun.
Thanks for having me. Very grateful. It's a really great league to be a part of, and the fellas in there. It's like, yeah, we live in different hemispheres, but it's like we've known each other for a very long time. It's very bizarre, especially guys like the Tooth. I'll plug him here, and Mace. Chat with them on a regular basis now. Fantastic people, and it's a great community to be a part of. Very friendly, very supportive, and yeah. Let's just get involved with fantasy football and be the best version of ourselves in life, yeah?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well said, my friend. I really appreciate it. Yeah, go check out Joey the Tooth. Go check out Mace. Those guys are awesome as well. I'm glad they're all in the league. It's it's everybody from newbies to some great heads, and I can't wait to see how week 1 shakes out. Good luck this week in Game of the Week, my friend. And you guys take care, love each other, and peace.
Take it easy, guys.